Discover the incredible moment. Little girl's heartwarming question exposes life-changing truths. On a warm summer evening in their snug little apartment, Lisa sat across from her 8-year-old daughter Mia at their modest dining table, the flickering candlelight illuminating the remnants of a homemade dinner. The walls, adorned with crayon drawings and photographs, held memories of laughter. Despite the warmth of their home, a chill of anxiety washed over Lisa as she served the last of the pasta. Mia, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, suddenly leaned forward. "Why don't we have a big house like everyone else?" The question, innocent yet piercing, hung in the air, echoing the unspoken weight of economic inequality that Lisa wrestled with daily. Her heart sank, it felt as if the walls were closing in. It was a simple question, but one that struck at the core of her struggles as a mother. They lived in a world painted by well-manicured lawns and sprawling homes, where every neighbor seemed to flaunt their abundance during summer barbecues. The laughter and joy of families reveling in their success made Lisa's small apartment feel even smaller, emphasizing what they lacked. She measured their worth in the love they shared, yet felt the judgment of an outside world that equated happiness with size, and always came up short. As her thoughts swirled, Mia's innocent gaze pierced through Lisa's defenses. "Mom, don't you want a big house like Amy? She has a treehouse." Each word from her daughter was a reminder of the life Lisa envisioned for them, one with space to grow and play unencumbered by should-haves. "Mia," Lisa started, trying to summon the right words, "we have everything we need right here." Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was Daniel, her estranged brother, a successful businessman with a facade polished by wealth. He strode in with a casual confidence, the aura of affluence surrounding him like a halo. The contrast was stark as he greeted them, his designer clothes and expensive shoes making their small living room feel cramped. Mia's eyes widened, caught between longing and confusion. Dinner became a battleground for emotions. Mia, sensing tension, fidgeted in her chair. "Uncle Daniel, why don't we have a treehouse?" The room fell silent. Lisa turned to her brother, face flushed. "We don't need a treehouse to be happy," but Daniel's smirk suggested he was weighing her words against his realities, combining judgment and disbelief. Lisa felt an urgency within her. "Daniel, do you really think that success can only be measured in homes or money? We have love, laughter." Her words poured out in a rush, desperately seeking to bridge the chasm between them. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the conversation escalated, Mia's question lingered in the air like an unresolved melody, pulling at the strings of the family's hidden resentments. Would they find common ground among the unspoken truths or let past grievances tear them apart forever? In that charged moment, Lisa could sense a seemingly insurmountable divide, leaving them all grappling for clarity in a chaotic world. It was clear that the definition of success hung in the balance, and only time would reveal whose vision would prevail. The silence consumed the room, as the tension between Lisa and Daniel thickened like smoke. Mia shifted in her chair, glancing between her mother and her uncle, her innocence a bright light in the overshadowed conversation. Lisa's heart raced, she could feel the weight of her choices pressing down on her. "Mia," she said, forcing her voice to remain steady, "happiness isn't about where you live. It's about who you love and how you treat each other." She clung to her words, hoping they would bridge the gap, but Daniel's eyes narrowed, skepticism etched across his face. "Happiness, Lisa? Really? Look around you. Your life is a textbook example of settling for less," he replied, folding his arms. "You've got to face it. People respect success. They admire it. That's just how this world works." Mia's small voice broke in again, but Uncle Daniel, we have fun. We play games and tell stories. Isn't that what makes us happy? Her hope was evident but lost in the adult's swirling emotions. Daniel's smirk softened slightly, the harsh edges of his expression softening, if only for a moment. Sure, kid, but you won't be playing those games forever. The confidence in his tone rang hollow. Lisa struggled against the churning tide of panic. What kind of message was Daniel conveying to her daughter, who still had faith in a world built on love? You can't buy joy, Daniel. Sure, you can have your treehouses and big houses, but without love, what's the point? For a fleeting moment, Daniel's grip on composure faltered. For the first time, Lisa saw a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, a vulnerability that had long been buried under layers of success. I just want what's best for you too, Daniel murmured, more to himself than to them. It's tough out there. I didn't want you to struggle. Mia reached for her juice cup, her small hands trembling, and Lisa saw the reflection of her daughter's innocence staring back at them both. We're not struggling, Uncle Daniel. We're strong. Right, Mom? A wave of warmth washed over Lisa, invigorating her spirit. Right, sweetheart. We have each other. We create joy with what we have. Daniel shifted, his walls shaking, if only slightly. Lisa seized the moment. Maybe it's time for you to see that happiness comes from within, not from what your bank account says. Suddenly, the flickering candlelight seemed brighter, and the tension lifted just enough for Daniel to truly hear what Lisa was saying. Maybe, he began slowly, I've been looking at it all wrong. But before he could finish, Mia leaned closer, her eyes sparkling. Can we go on an adventure together? A real one? An adventure? Daniel echoed, the slightest hint of intrigue in his voice. A trip to the park. We could build a fort. Just like a treehouse. Mia's enthusiasm lit up the room, an innocent plea that tugged at the heartstrings of both adults. Lisa's breath caught in her throat as she watched her brother consider the idea. What if this was the turning point? A chance to create memories free from the weight of expectations? Yet, as Daniel hesitated, Lisa could sense the fear of failure creeping back. Would he turn away once again? The flicker of hope fought against the rising tide of doubt. Could this simple outing be the catalyst that brought them back together? In that charged moment, Lisa realized that true adventure wasn't about grand vacations or luxurious experiences. It was about the simple connections made along the way. But would Daniel take that step forward, or would he retreat back into his world of wealth and ambition? And just as uncertainty settled in, the doorbell rang again, pulling them from their intimate moment, introducing new possibilities. Who could it be now? The doorbell rang again, slicing through the tension like a hot knife through butter. Lisa shot a quick glance at Daniel, whose brows furrowed in confusion and curiosity. Mia bounced in her seat, excitement sparking in her eyes. Maybe it's a surprise visitor, she exclaimed, her voice bubbling over with youthful energy. Only one way to find out, Daniel replied, forcing a smile as he moved toward the door. Lisa felt a mix of hope and anxiety. What if the visitor was someone who could cheer him up? Or what if it disrupted the fragile connection they were starting to build? Daniel opened the door to reveal a young girl, maybe a year older than Mia, with luminous red hair and an infectious smile. Behind her stood a lady Lisa recognized as the neighborhood's new art teacher, Mrs. Green. Hi, Daniel. The teacher chirped. I'm sorry to intrude, but Emily here wanted to invite Mia to an art picnic. We're gathering some kids to paint rocks at the park this afternoon. Would she like to come? Mia's face lit up like a Christmas tree. Can I go, Mom? She pleaded, her voice an eager whisper. Lisa hesitated, her protective instincts flaring up. It's an outdoor adventure then? Daniel interjected, glancing back at Lisa with newfound resolve. Might be just what we need. You've been talking about wanting to go to the park, right? Mia squeezed her hands together, practically dancing in her chair. Please, Mom. I can bring snacks and everything. Reluctantly, Lisa nodded. Okay, honey, but you'll have to stay close to Mrs. Green and, the teacher interjected, her warm eyes sparkling. Don't worry, she'll be in good hands. We'll have supervision, and I promise it'll be fun. As Mia darted off to gather her things, Daniel turned to Lisa, his posture slightly more relaxed. Maybe we should join them. I could use a break from those four walls, he said, gesturing vaguely around the living room. Lisa was taken aback. Did he actually just suggest that? Are you serious? Why not? He shrugged, a hint of a smile returning. Let us show her what a real adventure is like. Besides, you've got me curious about what this whole fort building thing is. Her heart raced, hope blossoming again. Okay, she replied slowly, choosing her words carefully. It could be a good start. Together, they helped Mia pack her backpack with snacks and art supplies. As they slipped on their shoes, Lisa glanced at Daniel. She saw a glimmer of the brother she used to know, the one who chased fireflies and built blanket forts with her. Once outside, the sun blazed in a heavenly blue sky, inviting them into its warm embrace. They walked to the park, Mia leading the way, her childlike confidence a sweet balm for the lingering tension. However, doubts began to creep into Lisa's mind. Would this moment be enough to bridge the chasm that had divided them for so long? Could a simple family outing mend the strands of their relationship? She watched her daughter, who was bubbling with enthusiasm, and felt her heart swell. It was a chance, yes, but also a risk. Would Daniel be open to rediscovering the joys he'd so long pushed aside? As they reached the park, everything seemed to breathe anew. The laughter of children filled the air, a melodic background for their budding adventure. But just as Mia ran ahead to join the other kids, Lisa caught sight of Daniel's expression. A flash of uncertainty crossed his face. Hey, are you okay? She asked gently, feeling the weight of his hesitation. He hesitated for a moment, then his face slowly broke into a thoughtful smile. I guess I'm just not sure I know how to have as much fun as you two. And just before Lisa could respond, Mia yelled back, Mom! Uncle Daniel! Come see what I made. As they hurried towards her, Lisa felt a shift within her brother. It was subtle, but it was there. A crack in his armor, a flicker of hope. But would that flicker grow into a flame? What awaited them at the park might just change everything. Mia stood amidst a cluster of children, a vibrant splash of energy as she lifted a rock painted with a smiling sun. Look! I made this for you, Mom. She called out, her voice pure and cheerful, a note of innocence echoing through the park. Lisa's heart soared. It's beautiful! She exclaimed, crouching down to get a better look. The sun drew bright swirls in yellows and oranges, and in the center, Mia had inscribed Love, Mom. In bright blue letters. Daniel watched from a few paces back, his expression softening. The sight of Mia's unfiltered joy sparked something within him. It was moments like these that reminded him what he had lost during the storm of adulthood. He took a hesitant step forward, the vulnerability echoing in his chest as he too wanted to engage. Wow, that's really something, Mia. How did you manage to paint such a neat sun? He asked, his voice wavering between enthusiasm and uncertainty. Mia beamed. I just imagined it. Like a big happy ball in the sky. Lisa saw the light in Daniel's eyes. This simple interaction felt groundbreaking. Maybe fun didn't have to be so complicated. Perhaps it could be as easy as embracing the moment. With that thought, Lisa stood up and took Daniel's hand. Let us join them. We can make our own rocks. What do you say? He hesitated, clearly battling what looked like a change in perception. I haven't painted since I was a kid exactly. It's like riding a bike. Come on. With every ounce of effort, Lisa nudged him forward. The air around them felt thick with anticipation as they approached the kids crowding around a folding table spread with paintbrushes, colors, and empty rocks ready for creation. Mia rushed to grab a spare rock. "Uncle Daniel. You can help me." Her eyes sparkled with excitement, a twinkle like starlight. With a silly grin, Daniel finally relaxed into it. "All right, partner. Let us make this sun even cooler." They settled down next to each other, the warmth of the afternoon sun wrapping around them like an embrace. The texture of the rough stone was warm in his hand as he dipped the brush in paint, feeling the colors dance beneath the bristles. As they painted, laughter bubbled up, echoing off the playground equipment. Old memories intermingled with the newfound joy of creating together, and Daniel began to realize that this was more than just art, it was healing. Lisa's hands trembled slightly as she mixed colors, a silent euphoria blooming within her. She could see Daniel's walls starting to crumble, brick by brick, each stroke of the brush a step toward the brother she had missed. "Remember when we used to paint together in the backyard?" he suddenly asked, catching her by surprise. "I do," she said, nostalgia flooding back but mixed with heavier emotions. "It feels like another lifetime, doesn't it? Way too long since we both just played," he mused, almost quietly. The moment hung in the air, thick with unspoken words and unhealed wounds. Lisa considers what he just said. If only they could bridge the distance that had driven them apart. "Mia?" Mia looked up from her masterpiece, paint all over her face. "What's the best thing you can paint?" She thought for a moment, tilting her head. "A rainbow. Because it makes people smile. That's it." Lisa exclaimed, inspiration flowing like paint. "A rainbow means hope, Daniel. We could paint a rainbow." His eyes shimmered with something Lisa hadn't seen in a long time. "Yeah, a rainbow." As they all enthusiastically began to mix colors for the rainbow, laughter filled the park, uniting them in a joyful symphony. In that instant, they were no longer just a sister and a brother lost in the shadows of their past. They were together again, creating beauty and laughter where there had once been silence, but as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows, Daniel's smile began to waver. What would tomorrow bring? Could he hold on to this joy? "Mia," Daniel began, an edge of uncertainty creeping in, "what if the clouds come back?" Her innocent laugh rang out, "Then we paint them too." The foundation of their newfound bond teetered on the brink of deeper truths yet to be uncovered. Would they embrace the storms, or would this moment slip away in the fading light? As he locked eyes with Lisa, Daniel realized the answer was not just about the art, it was about the heart. And just like that, a question loomed in the air, heavy with both promise and fear: could they truly paint over the past? As the sun dipped below the horizon, colors ranged from deep purple to warm gold, mirroring the depth of emotions swirling within Daniel. He stared blankly at the colors on his palette, their vibrancy stark against the inner chaos he felt. "What if we can't?" he finally asked, breaking the unsteady silence. "What if things don't change?" Mia, oblivious to the weight of his words, brushed near with a rock splattered in blues and greens. "But Uncle Daniel," she said, her voice a sweet melody of innocence, "we make everything brighter. When it's dark, we just need to paint more colors." She spun around, pointing at the pastel sky, as if trying to show him a path forward. Daniel marveled at her perspective. "Paint more colors," he whispered to himself, letting the phrase linger in the air like a promise. Lisa's heart swelled as she watched Mia brighten the moment with her unwavering belief. "You're right, sweetheart," she chimed, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. "Sometimes, it's all about how we see things." As they continued their work, Daniel lost himself in the rhythm of the brush gliding across the stone, the soft murmur of laughter surrounding him. The worries that had chased him for so long seemed to drift away like clouds in the breeze. "Look!" Mia exclaimed, interrupting the moment. She held up the rocks, displaying a vibrant collection of suns, stars, and now, a budding rainbow. "It's like a treasure." "Exactly," Lisa replied, pride washing over her. "But it can get even bigger." Let us add more colors, more shapes. Her enthusiasm wrapped around Daniel like a gently comforting blanket. He turned to Lisa, noticing the spark in her eyes, the way they danced as she envisioned their imaginations intertwining again. We should do this more often, he stated, feeling a strange comfort in that idea. Create together, like before. But doubt crept back alongside the fading sunlight, whispering reminders of the storms that could return. Do you really think, he hesitated, that we can just fix everything by painting? Mia's hand shot up again, demanding attention. Yes. You just keep painting and keep smiling. It works. Daniel chuckled softly, the innocence in her assertion a balm for his troubled heart. He reached out to touch her shoulder, the connection a tangible thread that drew him back to the moment. You are the best little artist I know, Mia. As Mia beamed, Lisa marveled at her brother's effort to embrace this simple joy. A part of her hoped this was the sign they needed to mend their fractured connection. She wanted to lean forward and scream it out, that it was possible to heal and flourish together. With each stroke on the stones, their colors became intertwined, symbolizing their collective journey. But as each rock filled with vibrant hues, the phone in Lisa's pocket buzzed with urgency. She fished it out and her heart sank as she read the message. It was from their parents. An invitation for the weekend dinner. A reminder of the past, one that always held tension in the air, even when masked by forced politeness. Mia? Lisa called softly, the weight of her words clouding her enthusiasm. What if we're not ready for the big dinner? What if we face things we aren't ready to confront? Mia stopped and tilted her head, her brow furrowing. It's okay, Mom. We can just paint over it. Like clouds, right? A chuckle escaped Daniel, but he felt the heaviness of Lisa's doubt settle in the pit of his stomach. He turned to her, searching her eyes for an answer. What do we do? He asked, a mix of hope and fear in his tone. The fading light bathed them in shadows, the moment starkly poignant. Could they embrace the challenge of their family ties, or would they let that dinner define them once more? Daniel, lost in thought, stroked the wet paint on his stone, a swirl of color morphing under his fingertips. Change was daunting, but like Mia said, maybe they could paint over it all, together. With an uncertain smile, he whispered, So, are you ready to paint that dinner? The air held a fragile mixture of bravery and hesitation, leaving the question hanging. Was their bond strong enough to face whatever was coming next? The next day dawned bright and clear, the sun rising like a promise over the horizon. Daniel felt the warmth on his face as he stepped out onto the porch, yet the cool breeze whispered uncertainty through his mind. Today was the day of the dreaded family dinner. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, trying to gather the courage he felt slipping away. In the kitchen, the sound of pans clattering mixed with the scent of freshly brewed coffee. Lisa moved around the space with an intensity that made Daniel wonder if she was feeling the same knots of tension in her stomach. Mia, blissfully unaware of the storm just beneath the surface, hummed an upbeat tune, spinning in circles in the middle of the living room. Her innocence felt like a lifebuoy in a tumultuous sea. Mom, can we paint? Before we go? Mia's voice rang out, her eyes sparkling with excitement. There's no time for that, sweetie, Lisa replied, glancing at the clock and biting her lip. We need to get ready for dinner. Daniel saw the way the hope in Mia's eyes wilted a little. With a sigh, he stepped forward. What if we just take a moment? Lisa turned, eyebrows raised. She looked torn between the weight of their reality and the joy they'd found in painting yesterday. A moment? Yes. Just a moment to paint together. Mia's joy became contagious as she grabbed her art supplies, eyes shining. With 3 strokes each. Mia chirped, as her enthusiasm returned. Daniel exchanged a glance with Lisa, who hesitated before relenting. All right. 3 quick strokes. They gathered in the yard again, the sunlight washing over them. The stones still bore the marks of yesterday's work, vibrant remnants of hope. Daniel picked up a brush and dipped it into a fresh shade of yellow, looking at it like it held the key to something bigger. He drew a sun on one of the stones, something he hadn't thought he could create. Lisa followed suit, crafting a brilliant flower. And then Mia, her brush became a joyful splash of color dancing wherever it pleased, creating a chaotic yet beautiful mural that seemed to tell a story only the three of them understood. In that moment, Daniel felt the weight of the dinner slip away. Laughter erupted as they painted messily, the colors mixing and blending in all the right ways. They were creating something together, pushing fear aside, if only for a moment. "This is what it feels like," Mia shouted, her laughter ringing like music. "It feels like magic." "Exactly, child." Daniel's tone was lighter now. "Magic together. Just like the stones." "Okay, enough of the magical stuff. We have to eat," Lisa joked, a smile brightening her face. They paused and looked at the stones, a cacophony of colors. Each stroke held a story. Yet, beneath the surface, an undercurrent of fear remained. Was this enough? As they finished, Daniel's heart sank at the thought of the upcoming dinner. The chaos of emotions brewed again, overshadowing the joy they'd just created together. "Mia," he said slowly, searching for the right words, "what if magic can come from being scared too? What if we paint over our fears?" Mia tilted her head, pondering this. "We paint over them really, really big. So they can't hide anymore." A warmth filled Daniel's chest. What happens if the dinner feels really scary?" She shrugged, her small shoulders rising and falling in a simple motion. "Then we just paint, Uncle Daniel. We keep painting until it's not so scary." A smile broke across Daniel's face, mingling with droplets of anxiety. He nodded, feeling that familiar thread of hope weave through him once more. "You might just be right, little artist." But just as they turned to head inside, a car pulled into the driveway. The unmistakable sound of their parents' arrival sent a shockwave through Daniel. "Are you ready?" Lisa asked, her voice barely a whisper, eyes wide with trepidation. Daniel glanced at Mia, who looked back, her smile unwavering. Maybe together, they could withstand the storm. Maybe they could turn this dinner into a canvas of brighter hues. As they gathered their things and prepared to face what came next, Daniel's heart raced. Would they find joy in the chaos? Or would the fear consume them like shadows in the dark? The arrival of their parents brought an unsettling silence that hung thick in the air. Daniel took a deep breath, trying to shake off the creeping anxiety clenching his chest. He glanced at Lisa, who was nervously arranging last-minute details in the kitchen, her movements quick and jittery. And there was Mia, blissfully cheerful, oblivious to the tension swirling around them. As the doorbell rang, Mia jumped up, practically bouncing in excitement. "I'll get it!" she shouted, dashing across the room. Daniel felt a mix of pride and dread. Mia's innocent enthusiasm was a beacon, but what lay beyond that door was uncertainty. "Stay close, sweetie," Lisa called after her, wiping her hands on a dish towel as her brow furrowed in concern. Daniel followed them to the door, hesitant but determined. When Mia flung the door open, Grandma and Grandpa stood there, their warm smiles battling the tension. Grandpa's face lit up first. "Well, look at this beautiful girl," he exclaimed, kneeling to Mia's level. She hugged him tightly, her laughter ringing out as if to break through the apprehension. "Come on in, everyone," Lisa said, her voice a bit too bright, attempting to mask the worry underlying her words. They stepped inside, filling the home with their presence. In that moment, Daniel's heart sank. Years of family dinners had taught him that words held more weight than mere smiles. He could feel the atmosphere shift as the adults exchanged polite hellos, their gazes lingering on Daniel. A subtle tension crackled in the space between them, a silence that spoke volumes. Could they see the remnants of yesterday's painting still splattered on his hands, or the chaos in his heart? "Let us sit," Lisa suggested, ushering them to the dining room. The sight of the table, elegantly set, felt like a facade. Each plate, each napkin folded perfectly, seemed to mock his uncertainty. It was a picture of family harmony that felt just out of reach. They settled into their seats, the clinking of silverware and the soft murmur of greetings filling the gaps. Daniel's mind raced. How could they navigate the conversations they dreaded? As laughter erupted from Grandma's stories about Mia's first steps, Daniel's tight grip on the fork became his anchor. "You must be so proud of her, Daniel," his mom said, a warmth in her voice that he tried to meet with a smile. "She's a real joy." "Yeah, we're lucky," he replied, but the words tasted bitter on his tongue. A panic swelled inside him, a plea to transform the tension into something beautiful. "Mia," he said suddenly, eyes lighting up with an idea, "why don't you tell everyone about our painting? About how we can paint over our fears?" He shot her a hopeful look, his heart urging her to remember their earlier moment. Mia's face brightened. "Yeah. We painted the sun and flowers. And I made it all colorful because colors make fears go away." A ripple of laughter shot through the adults. "Oh, those colors sound lovely," Grandma said, eyes twinkling. But Daniel sensed a shift. The room was listening now, curiosity mingling with skepticism. "What do you mean by painting over fears?" Lisa's question hung heavy in the air, almost challenging. Daniel's heart raced. He wanted to say more, draw them in, make them understand. "Sometimes, when we feel scared," he began, "we find ways to turn those fears into things we can manage, even beautiful things. Like a painting." Silence fell again, the weight of his words crashing over them. Mia leaned forward, her tiny hands on the table, sparkling eyes shining through her earnestness. "Yeah. We can make them big so they can't hide." Daniel held his breath, waiting. Would this be the bridge, the moment where they could open up? Or would it plunge them deeper into the chasms of unspoken emotions? But before anyone could respond, the dinner took an unexpected turn. A loud crash echoed from the kitchen, followed by a shatter. It jolted everyone from their considerations, and Daniel felt the tension spiral. "What was that?" Lisa gasped, the color draining from her face. Daniel's stomach dropped. "I'll check." As he stood, panic coursing through him, a question echoed in his mind. Would they ever truly find clarity amidst this chaos? As he headed toward the kitchen, he heard Mia's voice behind him, "Uncle Daniel, let's just keep painting." Would they keep painting? Would they find the magic in the mess? The kitchen loomed ahead, a familiar space turned battlefield of emotions. Daniel stepped inside, dread hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Shards of glass sparkled on the tile floor, a treacherous reminder of fragility. Lisa stood frozen, hands cupping her cheeks, eyes wide with disbelief. "Are you okay?" he asked, trying to project calm. But worry etched deeper lines into her face. I was just trying to grab a pot," she stammered, her voice trembling. "It slipped." He bent down, carefully picking up the larger pieces of glass. His mind raced. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration, but the crack in the kitchen was a crack in their fragile facade. It hinted at the chaos not just in their home but within their hearts too. "Maybe we should focus on something else," Daniel suggested softly. "Like Mia's painting." "It was a great idea, yeah, a great distraction," Lisa murmured, her tone heavier than before. "But Daniel, you know we can't keep avoiding it." "Not now." It felt like an electric jolt. He straightened up, meeting her gaze. There it was, the quiet desperation beneath her words, the longing to understand, to bridge the gaps in their lives. "What do you mean?" he asked, a knot forming in his stomach. "We need to paint over our own fears, don't we?" She replied, acknowledging the truth in his previous words. "What are we afraid of?" Daniel ran a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I don't know, maybe everything." The honesty felt like a release. "Exactly. It's everything." The unspoken things, the expectations, the family history. Her eyes glistened, pooling with unshed tears. We act like it's all normal, but it's not. We can't pretend anymore. Mom, Dad, and he paused, considering the weight of the words. They just want everything to look perfect. Who are we really trying to impress? With each mention, he could feel the walls closing in, echoing the unresolved arguments and failures. The ones that loomed large at family gatherings, silently judging. Maybe we just need to let go. Daniel bent to sweep the last of the glass shards into a trash bag. He fought back the emotions rising. Maybe we can be honest with them. Honest about what? Lisa asked, a mix of fear and hope in her voice. About us. About how we're feeling. Our struggles. It's okay to be scared, you know? It's okay to be vulnerable. Suddenly, Mia's soft voice came from the doorway, bright and innocent. Are you guys okay? Can I help? The sight of her, small and radiant against the dim kitchen light, broke the tension a little. But it infused more urgency into their conversation. Daniel approached her, dropping to one knee. Honey, we're just having a grown-up talk. You're doing such a great job at being our sunshine today. Can I help paint the fears too? She asked, her eyes wide and earnest. I want to paint them colors, like the flowers. They won't hide anymore. Daniel's chest tightened and warmed. What if Mia's view was the key? Absolutely, sweet girl. You can help us. This isn't just about painting, it's about sharing. But what if the fears don't want to go away? She countered, tilting her head. Her question hit him like a wave. What if they didn't? Could they even manage to face everything their family had been avoiding? The silence returned, it felt heavy, filled with all the things left unspoken. Lisa exchanged a glance with Daniel, understanding blooming silently, each of them wrestling with fears in their own way. Maybe we can't paint them away, but facing them together makes it easier, Daniel said, his heart racing. We can let our colors fight back. Mia grinned, her exuberance a reminder of hope. Then let us call everyone. Let us paint together. As the three of them began to plan, a realization tucked into the back of Daniel's mind: the journey wasn't just about art. It was about becoming transparent, exposing too much for comfort, but maybe, just maybe, that was where the true magic of family lay. Could they really unleash their fears to paint a new reality? And what would that mean for them all? As they returned to the living room, ready to embrace whatever came next, the air thick with anticipation hung heavy, the unknown swirling around them like a fresh canvas, waiting to be filled. As they gathered in the living room, tension still danced in the air. Daniel felt a mix of dread and excitement. They had a chance to confront their fears, but a part of him hesitated. What if bringing the family together only highlighted the cracks? Mia scampered into the room, her little feet pattering against the hardwood floor, a ball of energy ready to spark joy. Can we paint with Mommy and Daddy? Please. The way she clapped her hands made Daniel's heart swell. Lisa managed a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Yes, honey. We'll ask everyone to join. The words came out slowly, as if each one needed to be weighed against the heaviness in her heart. Are you ready to make some magic happen? Daniel asked Mia, excitement lacing his voice, trying to infuse the moment with optimism. She beamed back at him, her innocence a bright light in the dim room, but as they prepared to call the family, Daniel's thoughts raced. What if the conversation doesn't go how we hope? He wondered silently. What if the truth shattered the fragile peace? He shook his head slightly, pushing the worry away. They needed to believe this was a step toward healing. Lisa picked up her phone, her fingers trembling slightly as she dialed the number for Mia's grandparents. Daniel watched her, admiring her determination. This was the moment they had to take, to be brave, to let their family see them as they truly were. Yes, Mom. We're having a little gathering tonight, Lisa said when her mother answered. Daniel could hear the nervous edge in her voice. Mia wants to paint with all of us. You can come, right? Daniel's stomach nodded at the thought of their parents arriving. Would his mother's critical gaze find fault in them even while they were trying to be vulnerable? Would Lisa's parents bring their own expectations? Of course. We'll be there. Came Lisa's mom's enthusiastic voice, bright and cheerful, masking the weight of unresolved tension. Daniel noticed Lisa's shoulders relax a fraction, but it still felt risky. Mia danced around excitedly, oblivious to the underlying gravity, dreaming up what colors they might use. We can paint rainbows and butterflies. And maybe some funny monsters. She said with wide-eyed joy. Sure, sweetheart. We'll paint whatever you want, Daniel replied, smiling at her creativity. He reached for her tiny hand, squeezing it gently as they headed back to the kitchen to set up. But deep inside, doubt flickered. What would happen if their parents brought up uncomfortable topics? What if they noticed the glass shard still waiting to be cleaned, a stark reminder of their own shattered tranquility? As they arranged brushes and plates of paint at the table, Daniel felt Lisa's gaze on him. Whatever happens, she whispered, we need to remember we're doing this together. Together. The word lingered between them, brimming with promise yet heavy with uncertainty. A knock on the door startled them, and Mia jumped with excitement. They're here. The moment had arrived, and Daniel's heart raced. He took a deep breath, feeling the ground beneath him sway. They opened the door to find Lisa's parents standing there. Instant smiles unfolded, masking the recognition of tension that lay simmering underneath. Hey, we brought some snacks. Her dad said, waving a large bag in the air like a peace offering. Mia squealed with delight, rushing to help carry the bounty inside. But Daniel felt a wave of anxiety rise again. Would these snacks become symbols of comfort or just another layer of pressure? As everyone settled, Daniel caught his breath, glancing at Lisa. She nodded, her determination sparking in her eyes. This wasn't just an art project. This was a chance to confront their fears. Would they seize it? All right, let us get started. He called, pushing ahead with forced enthusiasm, masking the storm of emotions swirling just beneath the surface. In that moment, Daniel could sense it building, an opportunity to unearth truths, to face their families and themselves. The energy in the room shifted. But as he prepared to begin, he couldn't shake the feeling that something unexpected was lingering just below the surface, waiting to be revealed. What would happen when they loosened the grip on their fears? And would they be ready to embrace the outcome? As the first stroke of paint hit the canvas, he realized the real question was yet to come: what would they truly uncover in this chaotic mess of colors and emotions? The excitement in the air was palpable, yet a silent echo of doubt reverberated in Daniel's mind. As brushes dipped into vibrant colors, Mia's laughter painted the moment with a sense of optimism he hadn't felt in years. Every splash of paint was like an invitation, a chance to explore emotions long buried under pressure and expectations. Let's start with a rainbow, just like yesterday. Mia chirped, her small voice brightening the dim room. She handed Daniel a brush, her eyes sparkling with innocence. It was the kind of moment that made time feel elastic, stretching as they dipped into creativity together. All right, little artist, Daniel said, forcing enthusiasm, but genuinely bursting with pride at her unwavering spirit. He began painting alongside her, vibrant colors colliding on the canvas, while Lisa moved close, her presence warm and comforting. We've got a masterpiece brewing, he reassured her. Their parents busied themselves setting out snacks, exchanging polite banter that felt heavier than it should. The familial awkwardness took on a physical form, twisting the air in the room. Daniel tried to keep the focus on the painting, glancing up now and then to gauge Lisa's reactions. As the colors blended together, Daniel felt that familiar tightness creeping back in. What if we can't truly share what's on our hearts? He wondered. He thought about everything that needed to be said, the past, and the hurt hidden beneath their polished lives. "Mia, what do you think colors mean?" he asked, shifting the focus. It was a simple question, but he needed to see her perspective, her innate wisdom. "Colors mean happy. They mean sunny days and smiles," she exclaimed, swirling her brush with dramatic flair. "They make the dark stuff go away." A grin stretched across Daniel's face. "Exactly. Like how we can paint our fears bright colors." He turned to Lisa, his eyes pleading for her to join him in this realization. "Then let's tell our fears," Mia chimed in, enthusiasm bubbling over. "I'm not scared at all. We just make them pretty." It felt like a lifeline. "You're right, Mia," Lisa said with a soft smile. The tension in her shoulders unraveled a little. "But it's okay to admit we're scared. It makes the bright colors shine even brighter." Daniel took a deep breath, the urge to hide his feelings clawing at him. There was a moment of silence as they all focused on the canvas, the chaos bubbling beneath the surface. Could they really share their truths? Mia beamed hope at both of them, a reminder that honesty could lead to connection. Just then, their dad spoke up, cheerfully wiping his hands on a napkin. "So, what's this all about? What's really going on?" The question hung in the air, laced with the edge of curiosity and a hint of apprehension. "Yeah," Lisa added, glancing from Daniel to their parents. "It's time we're honest about how we feel. Like, really honest." Daniel's heart raced. "As we paint, we're painting our feelings too. We are scared, but that's okay. We've always worried about what you all think." The room held its breath, and as Daniel faced the truth, he felt a release, a crack in the walls that had held back so much for so long. "I think we have lived under so much pressure to be perfect, but real happiness comes from embracing who we really are." The tension shifted, fingers paused, and the silence that met his words felt like raw honesty, a breath held for too long waiting for release. Mia leaned in closer, her innocent spirit the bridge between them. "So, we just keep painting. Even the fears." Her enthusiasm shone brighter. "We can paint them together." Lisa turned to Daniel, a smile breaking the tension. "You're right. Our fears can't hide if we face them." Their parents exchanged glances, and Daniel sensed the shift and understanding blossoming, something familial igniting a spark of vulnerability. "All right, let us do this together," Daniel said, meeting Lisa's gaze, each of them inching closer in a moment of shared resolve. The atmosphere transformed decisively. As they painted, colors filled the canvas with laughter. Each stroke embodied fears and wishes tangled in their hearts, easily blended away by moments of love and laughter. "Maybe it's okay to be scared," Lisa murmured, the sincerity spilling forth. "It can help us grow stronger, together." With the warmth of their joined hands around brushes, they turned fears into a canvas of colors, the rising laughter breaking the storm clouds above. As the final strokes filled the canvas with vibrant hues, the evening unfurled in a dance of joy and vulnerability. They didn't have all the answers, but they walked into the unknown together, armed with bold colors and hearts wide open. Mia lifted her brush high. "Now we can keep painting forever. With love." Daniel held his breath, overwhelmed by a rare blend of fear and hope. This moment mattered. This painting mattered. As laughter exploded around them, Daniel realized they had found something beautiful, each other, imperfections and all. And just like that, they knew the journey ahead held promise. Shoulders relaxed as the lessons of yesterday became a foundation for their tomorrow. "Let us face the storms, together," Daniel said, grinning wide. And just like that, in a cozy living room, colored by love, vulnerability, and the sheer joy of being a family, they set out to paint their new story, one brushstroke at a time. If you felt the warmth of this transformation and want to join our journey for more inspiring stories, you need to subscribe now. Hit that bell so you don't miss out on the magic we create together. And don't forget to leave a like now to help us spread the love in our community. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. Lastly, share this video with at least 5 friends who need a little brightness in their lives. Let's spread this message of hope and connection. Don't wait not even one more second. Show your support and let's keep this beautiful journey going.